This video will prove Hamas's surprise attack was a false flag and was staged.
The footage comes from the Telegram channel South First Responders.
The caption reads, "This footage is taken from the body cameras of elite Israeli units as they cleared the area of the festival." Through the video, the police officer is heard in a trembling voice trying to call out for survivors. Further description of what they saw is not needed.
הלאה, כיוון, אני פותח את השער, אני פותח, חפו. משטרת צה"ל, משטרת צה"ל! מי שמה בפנים? מי בפנים? מי בפנים בתוך האמבטיה?
So this supposed body cam video shows this elite soldier, armed with just a gun, and he is just using one hand, commanding the soldiers that had both hands, that are armed with long guns, that he will take the lead to breach a building, armed with just his Glock and one hand.
Why would the one-armed man, armed with just a Glock, take the lead?
The video goes on to show this one-armed soldier looking for Hamas to kill and survivors to save. Huh?
That's why the soldier is just using one hand, because this is not a body cam video, but just a cell phone video.
How dangerous was this Hamas surprise attack if the soldier is recording a video with one hand and a gun on the other? How real are the videos that we are seeing, when even the elite Israeli units are faking these massacre videos, lying that this is a body cam, laughing at their dead parents, lying about the success rate of their Iron Dome?
It may not even be that good.
95% of the time they miss?
It looks that way, yes. Let me remind you, the general view among all informed technical people was that the intercept rate of Patriot was probably zero.
The general view among all informed technical people
was that the intercept rate of Patriot was probably zero.
All right, guys, happy Wednesday. I know that I cannot be the only woman in the world who felt the need to apologize to my husband following the debate last night. I mean, that's about how much whining went on. I could not stand. It literally became insufferable listening to the sound of Kamala's voice. It was just so much whining and nagging. Truly, I just felt bad for her husband, and I felt bad for all husbands, and I felt like I had to apologize. No worries. I've got your recap today. We're going to go through everything that I thought that was extremely relevant that happened, and I'm going to deliver my final verdict on who was the winner and who was the loser, and I think my answer is going to surprise you. Plus, are you guys following this debacle with her earrings, Kamala's earrings? Were they actually devices? Was somebody feeding her answers? This is a question that only a woman can investigate and get to the bottom of, and I'm happy to be that woman. Lastly, we have to address the elephant in the room, or better stated, the cat in the room. Ms. Taylor Swift, she has just come out, and it is really shocking that she has decided to endorse Kamala Harris. All that coming up on Candace. All right, so going into the debate, I guess we all sort of knew what was going to happen. I don't even know why we watch these things. It's just exciting, I suppose. You expect there's going to be a little bit of theater, but it really kind of all is political theater, and we know exactly what we're getting into. We knew that Kamala was going to hit hard on the topic of abortion. It feels so differently to me. I know that there are tons of women who follow me, and not all of them are necessarily pro-life, but I have to believe that you feel a bit stirred when you hear someone that is close to tears speaking about abortion and talking about it as if it's just a right. Like, I just need to be able to abort my child. Like, suddenly when I see that stuff, and it could definitively be because I've been leaning so much more into my faith, it just sounds so demonic. Like, we are speaking about children. And I just feel like our every instinct as women should be to defend children. And I think a large piece of this is that a lot of these women that are crying and demanding these sorts of things don't have children, so it makes it a little bit easier. And I guess I have 3 young children, and it's just unimaginable to me. And it's just such a difference from when I was in college, and I agreed with those perspectives. But anyways, we knew that that was what Kamala was going to do. because that's what her base loves. They love the nonstop appeal to emotion. You saw this throughout the entire night. Kamala would just make everything a personal, emotional story. I was standing here on January 6th, and let me tell you what I saw. And I was here when this happened to me. And we can mock it all we want as conservatives, but like I said, she knows her demographic, and she is dealing with a demographic that is largely emotional and not very rational. Like I said, these are the only kinds of people that would flood the streets and be brought to tears by the concept of aborting a child. You're talking about either a young audience, or if you're talking about a woman who's way older, like I said, it's usually there's a prototype for that. You're talking about the kinds of celebrities that gave up having a family, someone like Chelsea Handler, because they wanted to pursue their career. But anyways, I know that people are speaking a lot about the moderators. Conservatives are so angry about the moderators. I am not upset one bit about the moderators, not because they were fair, but because they were to be expected. This has been the game since 2015. He can't even get a fair interview. I saw Megyn Kelly was going on a tear about that this morning, and I just was like, and how old am I? Am I old enough to remember when Megyn Kelly was sort of one of these unfair people that was giving Donald Trump an interview in 2015? Now, granted, she's not a moderator, and who knows if she would have perhaps been better in a debate. But if you've been on the Trump train for a while, this is just what we've come to expect. So Trump knows going in there that it's going to be a 3-on-1 debate. He knows that ABC is going to try to assist Kamala in any way that they can. And it was very clear that she got all the questions ahead of time and she had prepared her answers. And I was also very much expecting Kamala to be prepared in her answers. Like, we're not dealing with Biden anymore. That's, by the way, why they had to get rid of Biden altogether. They had to get rid of Biden because he was dead. He couldn't even do the thing where he could perform, right? He couldn't just be an actor. They just need a Zelensky. They just need a Justin Trudeau. They just need a theater kid, somebody who grew up in theater, can memorize the lines and deliver them convincingly to an emotional audience, right? That's what's happening right now all across the world. We have a bunch of drama kids who have assumed office, and their job is to put on the next play in front of an audience that is going to be moved to tears, watching them play Macbeth and Hamlet and go, oh my God, this is so real. I feel like I'm actually experiencing this emotion. And she did that, by the way. Kudos to Kamala. She did that. She remembered her lines. She delivered her lines with the exact inflection that they wanted her to. And like I said, she was assisted by David Muir and Lindsay Davis, who were the moderators. And it turns out that they fact-checked Donald Trump 5 times while he was speaking. 0 times for Kamala, 5 times for Donald Trump. Take a listen.
And you can look at the governor of West Virginia, the previous governor of West Virginia, not the current governor, who's doing an excellent job, but the governor before. He said the baby will be born and we will decide what to do with the baby. In other words, we'll execute the baby.
There is no state in this country where it is legal to kill a baby after it's born.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
I just want to clarify here. You bring up Springfield, Ohio, and ABC News did reach out to the city manager there. He told us there have been no credible reports of specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals within the immigrant community.
Well, I've seen people on television.
Let me just say here, this is
the people on television say my dog was taken and used for food. So maybe he said that, and maybe that's a good thing to say for a city manager.
I'm not taking this from television.
But the people
I'm
on
taking it from
television
the city
saying their
manager.
dog was eaten by the people that went there.
Again, the Springfield city manager says there's no evidence of that. Vice President Harris, I'll let you respond.
Crime in this country is through the roof, and we have a new form of crime. It's called migrant crime, and it's happening at levels that nobody thought possible.
President Trump, as you know, the FBI says overall violent crime is actually coming down in this country. But Vice President Harris,
the FBI they were defrauding statements. They didn't include the worst cities. They didn't include the cities with the worst crime. It was a fraud, just like their number of 818,000 jobs that they said they created turned out to be a fraud.
You got to love that, man. Really, Kamala could have just sat there and said nothing, and the moderators would have handled it for her. David Muir, what a piece of work. We spoke to the city manager, and they say there's no evidence of that. That's always how you know that what they're telling you is absolute BS, when they say there's no evidence of that. What do you mean there's no evidence of that? There's no evidence they ate the animal. Well, they ate it. So I don't know how you would have the evidence. He says he had a cat, he had a dog, and they ate it, and then they're just like, well, we don't. There's no evidence of that. It's in his belly. I mean, what is it? Somebody has all reported this publicly, said that this took place, and the city manager is taking the stance that they don't have evidence of it. This kind of so reminds me of the exact same language that they give us about COVID, and well, there's no evidence, which means that we're not looking for the evidence. That's exactly what there is no evidence. It means we, the establishment, are not looking for the evidence because there is a certain narrative that we are trying to sell, and it would not be helpful right now for us to learn that there are migrants that are eating people's pets. That's just not something that people want to accept at this moment, least of all ahead of an election where we know exactly which party is the party of open borders. And then, of course, like I said, they didn't fact check Kamala at all. And she told so many lies that have been debunked over and over again, even by the left. Like when she arrived at the Charlottesville hoax, I don't know how long they can just keep doing this. The very fine people. Trump said the neo-Nazis were very fine people. It's been debunked left and right. That is a hoax. Nobody fact-checked her on that. They were like, oh, we're just going to kind of let that one go. She also lied and said that she never wanted to ban fracking. There's a clip circulating on the internet right now of her explicitly stating that she wanted to ban fracking when she was being interviewed as the then vice presidential candidate. So she just changes her mind and nobody calls her out on it. But my favorite was when she lied, claiming that there were no Democrats. And you can see Lindsay trying to assist her there when she's like, right now, nowhere in the union can you abort a baby at 9 months. Yeah, that's not what he's saying. He's saying the Democrats want to pass laws allowing people to abort babies up to 9 months in the womb. That is an absolute fact. And so they lied to try to cover that fact because that's a scary thing, because you realize, again, whether or not you're pro-choice, how overboard that is. Even a person that is pro-choice would say, hey, we shouldn't be allowing people to choose abortion at 9 months in the womb. Who's arguing for that? And I can tell you who's arguing for that. There was an entire Democratic committee put together where the delegates made an argument, particularly Kathy Tran. They put together a bill arguing for that bill to get passed because they needed third trimester abortions. And then it was backed up by then Governor Ralph Northam, who spoke at length about why they should allow this and what they would do in those circumstances. Take a listen to this old clip.
No exception. There was a very contentious committee hearing yesterday when Fairfax County Delegate Kathy Tran made her case for lifting restrictions on third trimester abortions, as well as other restrictions now in place. And she was pressed by a Republican delegate about whether her bill would permit an abortion even as a woman is essentially dilating, ready to give birth. And she answered that it would permit an abortion at that stage of labor. Do you support her measure and explain her answer?
Yeah, and I wasn't there, Julie, and I certainly can't speak for Delegate Tran, but I would tell you first thing I would say is this is why decisions such as this should be made by providers, physicians, and the mothers and fathers that are involved. There are, when we talk about third trimester abortions, these are done with the consent of obviously the mother, with the consent of the physicians, more than one physician, by the way. And it's done in cases where there may be severe deformities, there may be a fetus that's non-viable. So in this particular example, if a mother is in labor, I can tell you exactly what would happen. The infant would be delivered. The infant would be kept comfortable. The infant would be resuscitated if that's what the mother and the family desired. And then a discussion would ensue between the physicians and the mother. So I think this was really blown out of proportion.
Okay. His opinion there. And by the way, he also is a doctor, then Governor Ralph Northam. And he is speaking about, we had this Democratic committee discussion about late-term abortions that women could have. And this is a discussion that will happen between them and their physicians. That makes people uncomfortable. And the reality is that these discussions are only being held on the Democratic side. And Kamala lied about that. And they've lied because they want people to believe that they're being reasonable about this issue, and they're not. She lied, and she also said that Trump wanted an abortion ban. No fact check. So we get it. It was 3-on-1. But like I said, that is just what is to be expected. But the lie that Kamala has told that has been the biggest and that I have truly wanted clarity on, because I just think it is so compelling. It is just such a fundamental lie, is that she's Black. Okay. And it matters. This really, really deeply matters to me, because if you are talking about someone who will assume a different race to get votes, a woman who her entire political career identified as an Indian American, a woman who was proud of her Indian heritage, who spoke about her Indian heritage, who on both sides of her family, she has an Indian parent. I just want to be very clear, guys. Before, I thought her dad might have been partially Black. No, her dad is Indian, but lived in Jamaica. He's a Jamaican Indian, okay? He's not Black. He is Indian. Her mother is Indian. And this woman then suddenly started saying Kendrick Lamar. She starts quoting hip hop songs. She's saying they ain't like us and this and that. And she's on the BET Awards simply because she wants to mine Black votes. That is wild. I mean, this should be like wall-to-wall coverage. Where are you at, Black America? How are you not completely upset that someone is essentially putting on your race like Rachel Dolezal because she thinks you're dumb enough that if she pretends to listen to hip-hop music, you'll give her your vote? And that moment arrived for her to clarify what her actual race was. And let's watch that moment.
Mr. President, you recently said of Vice President Harris, quote, "I didn't know she was Black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn Black, and now she wants to be known as Black." I want to ask a bigger picture question here tonight. Why do you believe it's appropriate to weigh in on the racial identity of your opponent?
I don't, and I don't care. I don't care what she is. I don't care. You make a big deal out of something. I couldn't care less. Whatever she wants to be is okay with me.
But those were your words, so I'm asking.
I don't know. I mean, all I can say is I read where she was not Black, that she put out, and I'll say that. And then I read that she was Black, and that's okay. Either one was okay with me. That's up to her. That's up to her.
Vice President Harris, your thoughts on this?
Just to pause. That is the reality. That's the reality. Why does he not have a right to ask that question? It's a little strange for someone to just become a different race. I don't know. Could she just clarify? Like, he read somewhere where she was Black, and he read somewhere where she wasn't Black, and then suddenly she appeared on the scene trying to get some votes, and yeah, Black. Like he says, Black. Suddenly she's Black. I don't care. I just want to know whatever she wants to be, she can be. I guess you can pick your gender. I guess you can pick your race. But this is weird. Okay, this shows you that she is desperate to win and will say and do anything if she thinks that she can get away with it. And that's why it matters. And here is her non-answer that she gives. Take a listen.
I think honestly, I think it's a tragedy that we have someone who wants to be president who has consistently, over the course of his career, attempted to use race to divide the American people.
Okay, sweetie, what you're doing is worse because you're attempting to flip your race so that you can unite a bunch of American people behind you. That's like so much worse. And you're pretending. And of course, she doesn't answer the question because she got caught lying and she just wants to get away with it. She's just going, oh, no, he's racist for even asking the question. She's not going to answer it because she got caught, quite literally caught lying. This woman is not Black. I want to be very clear. She is not Black, okay? It's fine. Just like Trump says, it's fine. I don't care if she's Black. I don't care if she's not Black. She can do whatever she wants to be, but we should at least be critical of the fact that she actually did this and that she, instead of owning it or apologizing for it, she's doing the old DC dip and twirl. You guys remember that? I'm telling you about this from the Will Ferrell movie. Take a look.
Cam Brady just gave you the old DC dip and twirl. Just danced around the question.
She was doing that all night, just doing the DC dip and twirl and dancing around the questions that she was being asked. And it makes me very frustrated to just see Black people buying into this, like thinking that she's the female Obama. And speaking of acting Black, I was being driven crazy, absolutely crazy, by the very obvious instruction that she was getting to essentially just emulate Obama in speech, but also trying to relate to Black people by performing in her own way the Martin Luther King "I Have a Dream" speech. Did you catch that in her tone, that she was trying to almost deliver a Martin Luther King type speech by constantly repeating certain words? I have a dream that one day. And she was doing the same thing in all of her answers. Take a listen.
I have a plan. to give startup businesses $50,000 tax deduction, to pursue their ambitions, their innovation, their ideas, their hard work. I have a plan, $6,000 for young families for the first year of your child's life, to help you in that most critical stage of your child's development. I have a plan that is about allowing people to be able to pursue what has been fleeting in terms of the American dream.
It is so performative. It is so obvious. It is so clear to me that this was a part of the strategy, was to have her in her phonetics emulate Martin Luther King Jr. So people would go, oh, she must be bringing people together. And it's going to work, by the way. I want to be clear. This works. With her demographic, this works. Tell a story, make it emotional, pretend that you're Martin Luther King. It doesn't matter if you switch your ideas, call the other person racist, make women scared, constantly make them fearful that something terrible is going to happen if we don't have the right to abort our children. And yeah, that's about it. That is her pitch. But I want to be very clear. There was only one great moment that happened last night. It was truly the greatest part of the entire night. And it came really in a moment in which Trump spoke about the Taliban. And this trended all night because it should trend all night, because it was about Abdul. And Abdul, you will not be forgotten. Abdul, if you're wondering, is a Taliban leader. Donald J. Trump had some very choice words for him. Take a listen.
If you take a look at that period of time, the Taliban was killing our soldiers, a lot of them, with snipers. And I got involved with the Taliban because the Taliban was doing the killing. That's the fighting force within Afghanistan. They don't bother doing that because, they deal with the wrong people all the time. But I got involved. And Abdul is the head of the Taliban. He is still the head of the Taliban. And I told Abdul, don't do it anymore. You do it anymore, you're going to have problems. And he said, why do you send me a picture of my house? I said, you're going to have to figure that out, Abdul. And for 18 months, we had nobody killed.
I'm sorry, but that is just, I laughed out loud. Every time I see it, I just laughed out loud. Abdul said to Donald Trump, why are you sending me pictures of my house? You're going to have to figure that out, Abdul. Figure it out, Abdul. Okay? We're not playing around anymore. Okay? America's not playing around. I'm sending you pictures of your house so you know that we know where you live, okay? This is like when he's got the red button on his desk. Now it's like Abdul in his house, and he's got a picture of Abdul's house that he just keeps in his phone, and he just swipes through, and he just looks at pictures of Abdul's house so that he knows not to mess with America. So in summation, this debate, people on the right are saying Trump won, people on the left are saying that Kamala won. And the reality is that for both sides, that is what they are choosing. I say after that debate, there was absolutely no change. There were no winners and there were no losers because she gave her demographic exactly what they wanted. Emotion, raw emotion, and sounding a bit like MLK Jr., despite the fact that nothing she was saying was true. And Donald Trump gave his audience and his demographic exactly what they wanted, which was somebody that was going to be tough, someone that's going to speak about the economy, and someone that was not going to give in or be swayed by the emotion of Kamala Harris and her supporters. And so, like I said, absolutely no change. Honestly, in my view, I think Abdul won. So we're going to have to see what happens in November. I saw that there were some people, Piers Morgan saying Kamala won, Elon Musk saying no one won, other people saying Donald Trump won. And it just really just goes to underscore how divided we are as a nation. And everybody sees exactly what it is that they want to see going into that debate. And that's unfortunate, but I can say the biggest losers in all of this is always going to be America because, like I said, we have just become one big political show. And that's all I'm going to say on that topic. All right, guys, I want to remind you guys about Good Ranchers. You know I absolutely love Good Ranchers, and you do not have to wait until November to vote because at goodranchers.com, you can make a powerful choice to vote for American meat, support American agriculture, and make your voice heard for transparency in our food. Good Ranchers sources all of their meat exclusively from American farms, which not only supports local ranchers, but also ensures that you receive high-quality American-raised meat. Right now, Good Ranchers is having a presidential promo. For a limited time, you can get a free add-on for 4 years until the next election. That means when you subscribe to any of their boxes, you get to decide if you want extra chicken breast, Angus ground beef, Applewood smoked bacon, or wild-caught salmon in every order for 4 years. It's the perfect way to ensure that you always have high-quality American meat in your kitchen. Every cut is pre-trimmed, individually packed, and vacuum sealed, which makes your life easier. Good Ranchers helps you get the most flavor and value out of every ounce of meat that you buy, and in this economy, that matters more each day. So do not miss out. You can use my code Candace to claim this presidential promo worth over $1,200 and bring 100% American meat to your family meals until 2028. Visit goodranchers.com and use code Candace. All right, let's get into some stories. We've got some stuff going on. So there are all these headlines about a conspiracy that is circulating. I don't know if you missed it. I'm going to take you through it as only a woman could, okay? Kamala Harris and her earrings. That is what is at the center of this scandal. I'll show you her wearing these earrings right now, and it caused a bit of a stir online with people saying that her earrings had Bluetooth capability, okay? And like I said, I feel like I'm the right person to investigate this because, well, I mean, there are a flurry of users on the internet who are convinced that they are, in fact, and Bluetooth capable, and because it's a pair of earrings, only a woman would know whether or not there was any truth to that because there are just certain things that women know. And this kind of reminds me of like a Legally Blonde investigation. I'll jog your memory.
The gun is missing. The coroner said he'd been dead 30 minutes when the cops arrived, giving Brooke plenty of time to stash it.
I just don't think Brooke could have done this. Exercise gives you endorphins. Endorphins make you happy. Happy people just don't shoot their husbands.
That is pretty sound female logic. I'm going to have to agree with her there. So I was like, I want to get into this debate about what is going on with her earrings. I know the media is dismissing it and calling it a conspiracy. Maybe there's something there. So here's what actually happened. There is, in fact, a pair of pearl earrings that were made by a company known as Nova. So if you're wondering what are Nova earrings, they look like a pair of unassuming earrings, but they're actually H1 audio earrings. And it's closer to a hands-free Bluetooth earpiece that's meant to look nice. They were created by this German startup that's called Nova Products. And I'm going to show you right now this side-by-side of Kamala's earrings next to the Nova earrings. You see, there's a strong similarity here, right? There's no question. You're like, okay, what's actually going on here? What's going on with this earring? It looks to me, my lady eyes, that she's wearing these pearl clip-ons of some description, right? And so the first thing I asked myself was, does Kamala Harris normally wear clip-on earrings? Are her ears pierced? Because if her ears are not pierced, and many people don't have their ears pierced, then it would follow that she might just be wearing some clip-on earrings. Well, I investigated that, and the answer to that is that she does always wear pearls, but she never wears clip-ons. Kamala Harris has pierced ears. Here she is, young Kamala Harris. She really does love pearls, I'll tell you that. She's wearing pearls almost virtually every time you see her. Here's her again, proving that her ears are pierced. Here is her a third time. Okay, it's undeniable. She normally wears pearls, but she does not normally wear clip-ons. So what the heck is actually going on? Why is she wearing this earring? Women know that if your ears are pierced, you do not wear clip-ons ever. There's no reason. There's just no reason for you to wear clip-on if your ears are pierced, because you get your ears pierced, so you don't have to wear clip-ons. So then, as I was like going through my female brain logic, a guy on my team decided to like mansplain something. It was super annoying. He was like, well, Bluetooth, if it's Bluetooth accessible, then the range wouldn't be far enough for her to be getting any notes. Plus there's a mic there. And I'm like, blah, 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 blah. How far does Bluetooth go? They said 30 feet. They're only 30 feet. So it's very unlikely that Kamala Harris had Bluetooth equipped earrings, which means, are there a pair of earrings that look like Kamala Harris's earrings that are not Nova earrings? And the answer is yes. And she's actually worn them many times before. They are these Tiffany earrings, these pearl earrings, and they sell them, and they look exactly like the ones that are in her ear. And you can also take a look at her wearing them at a different time when she was not speaking. This is just Kamala wearing a pair of Tiffany earrings, ladies and gentlemen. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to debunk this fun conspiracy theory, but it looks like Kamala Harris just really does like a good pair of pearls. And those ones look like clip-ons, but they are in fact not clip-ons. They are just stylish. I actually do like the earrings. I'm not going to hate. All right, guys, we have to move on to Taylor Swift because this was the other big news of the night. Taylor Swift has come out, and it is shocking. I was convinced that she was definitely going to come out and support Donald Trump. Not. You know, she's got to weigh in and she's got to do the thing, and she does that. So she's bought another 20 years in the sphere of Hollywood with everybody convincing her she's the greatest songwriter of our genre. And if she is, we've got real issues of our generation, pardon. And if she's the greatest songwriter of our generation, I think we have some issues, but I'm not going to be a hater. I'm not. Let's try to find something wonderful to say about Taylor Swift and her post endorsing Kamala. Well, here it is on Instagram. She posted this photo. I love cats, actually. I think the cat's really cute. I think her hair looks great. She's looking very Steve Jobsy. It's an old photo. We've seen it before. And she posted this obviously as a dig to JD Vance because of his old cat lady. We don't want these sorts of people who don't have children running the government because they don't have that attachment to these issues. So her post reads, and I'll skim through it. Like many of you, I watched the debate tonight. If you haven't already, now is a great time to do your research on the issues at hand and the stances these candidates take on the topics that matter to you most. As a voter, I make sure to watch and read everything I can about their proposed policies and plans for this country. Recently, I was made aware that AI of me falsely endorsing Donald Trump's presidential run was posted to his site. It really conjured up my fears around AI and the dangers of spreading misinformation. Okay, that just makes me want to punch the air. Normally I say punch her or someone in the face. It just makes me want to punch the air because she always does this. Why can't she just say what she believes without victimizing herself? Like, no one feels bad for you, Taylor Swift. You're worth like $1 billion. You fly around private with your cats. Like, please stop pretending you're a victim of like the internet AI. Like, relax. This is not the scariest thing to happen. They did it tongue in cheek because they knew that you would never endorse him. So it's funny to make an AI thing and saying, I'm Taylor Swift and I endorse Donald Trump. Chill. Just relax, okay? Which I know you've been doing lately, actually. We're going to get to that. So she, of course, does this little, like, I'm a victim of AI, and so it's very important for me. She writes, the simplest way for me to combat misinformation is with the truth, as if anyone actually believed that she came out and endorsed Trump. But like I said, she can't do it without the victim thing. We're supposed to think that she's got a really sad life, a really difficult life, because she has to deal with people making jokes about her endorsing Trump. So she's confirmed, in case you were someone who believed that she might plausibly be voting for Donald Trump. She writes, I will be casting my vote for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz in the 2024 presidential election. I am voting for Kamala Harris because she fights for the rights and causes I believe need a warrior to champion them. I think she is a steady-handed, gifted leader, and I believe we can accomplish so much more in this country if we are led by calm and not chaos. I was so heartened and impressed by her selection of running mate Tim Walz, who has been standing up for LGBTQ plus rights, IVF, and a woman's right to her own body for decades. She then signs it off with love and hope, Taylor Swift, the childless cat lady, again as a dig to JD Vance and a reminder, like, for all of the women who are childless and with cats, like, come on, gang, gang, this is you. Like, she's speaking to you. She's saying, like, obviously we have to stand up for ourselves by voting for Kamala Harris because we feel insulted by the fact that we're childless and that we love cats. And it's supposed to be really funny. And it will, like I said, it will work. It will work. Tons of people will vote because Taylor Swift posted that she was voting and she posted it with a cat picture. Which, by the way, the fact that this will work only verifies everything that JD Vance was saying. Like, you don't want the kind of women who look at this post and go, yeah, I'm with her because of this photo and because it was really scary when this billionaire had to go through like a joke on the internet with AI. You don't want those people leading the country. Like, that's a fact, right? If this is all it takes for someone to vote or to be swayed to vote, they should never be in leadership positions. But again, she knows her marching orders. There's no depth to this. It was unbelievably predictable. It will be covered and it will inspire some women to vote for her. Cool, whatever. Taylor Swift, like I said, I've been saying this forever. She has no personality. It frustrates me to no end that I've just been so right about her, and people just do not respect my kind of greatness when they see it. Like, I have been calling her out since she's been dating Connor Kennedy. I say this woman quite literally becomes whoever she is dating. So Connor Kennedy, she's wearing poodle skirts. And then when she was with Harry Styles and he was in his Brooklyn phase, suddenly she's wearing the beanie. And then when she's with her guy in London who likes privacy, suddenly she's like dressing like a proper British girl. And I just can't stand it. Like, you know, I just can't stand someone who doesn't have a personality and just adopts everyone else's. Like the girl that she used to be best friends with, I can't think of the model's name, something with a K. Somebody help me out. She's married to Joshua Kushner. I can't think of her name at all, but you guys will know who I'm talking about. She essentially took on her personality in the biggest way, even cut her hair the exact same way as that model and began dressing like her and doing all of the same classes as her. What's her name? Carly Kloss. Yes, there was that whole, and that is, by the way, why there are so many Taylor Swift eras, why there are so many Taylor Swift personalities. They're actually not personalities. They're somebody else's personalities. They're not hers. And so it just, when I see this, I just wonder, whose personality is this? I don't know. Whose personality is she taking on here when she writes this post? Some people are going, I wonder what Travis Kelce thinks about that. Travis Kelce is loving life right now because he is going to get every upside of this relationship that is not going to last. I've called that because it's obvious. And again, she's stepped into a new era. Like Travis Kelce's a little bit gangster, I would say. You know, he's got a little bit of swag to him as a football player, loves to wear like bucket hats. And now all of a sudden we see Taylor Swift, and this is like her hip hop era, right? I mean, look at what she wore to do the first game. What era is this? Denim on denim with her boobs out, belly showing, and she's got these high-heeled leather red boots and like a chain around her neck. I'm like, okay, she's in her black girl era. I dig it. You know, she's with a guy who almost exclusively dates black girls until her. So now she's given him a little bit more flavor. And that also means grinding on him out in the open at the U.S. Open, which is actually supposed to be a very high-class event. But I guess, you know, Americans, we can make anything, we can D-class anything. It's really what we do. That's what we do the best. We are like, hey, it's a classy thing you got there. Watch us. And this is the actual video of her and Travis Kelce. Look at this. Look at her grinding on him, drinking. He's wearing a bucket hat, Gucci. She's got her tongue out. This is the new era, guys. Yeah, get it, Tay. Get it, Tay. Okay, cool. We get it, Tay. We get it. So this is not something for people to be upset about. Like I said, it's predictable. I think she truly, her talent is her curse, right? She can, in her head, step into any reverie. She can step into anyone's personality. She is essentially the person from X-Men who is the lizard that could, like, just becomes people. What's her name? Not Rogue. I'm blanking on this as well. Mystique. Yeah, Taylor Swift is like a Mystique. You know, she takes it on, and it's very believable, and then she sheds it when she no longer needs it. And so, whatever. If you're going to follow that and vote with her accordingly, good for you. Thumbs up. I don't hate the player. I can't hate the player. You can only hate the game. All right, guys, before I get into reading some of your comments, plus reading a very nice comment from the ADL to me, which was posted onto X earlier today, I'm going to tell you guys about Native Path Collagen, because you know that I care a lot about health, and Native Path Collagen is something that really works. It's a single ingredient formula that has no fillers, additives, or artificial sweeteners. Native Path Collagen is made with type 1 and 3 collagen fibers, which are found in your cartilage, bones, skin, hair, nails, and gut. Their ingredients are scientifically backed to increase bone mineral density, support tissue recovery, reduce wrinkles, enhance hair thickness, and strengthen weak or damaged nails. It's completely flavorless. Native Path Collagen can be added to anything, coffee, smoothies, oatmeal, you name it. Its peptide formula makes it more bioavailable, meaning it's absorbed more easily and mixes perfectly without clumping. Right now, when you visit nativepath.sale/Candace, you can stock up on Native Path Collagen for up to an incredible 45% off today, plus free shipping. Every order comes with a 365-day money-back guarantee, so you can try it risk-free today. Native Path offers amazing bundle deals. You can get 3 or 6 packs at a fraction of the price of other brands. So visit nativepath.sale/Candace today. All right, so let me tell you about the ADL. My friends over at the ADL. The ADL, an organization that was founded defending a pedophile and murderer named Leo Frank. Sorry, I'm in my Taylor Swift era. I just write a song about everything that happens to me. And that's what happened. That's literally the founding of the ADL, which is now remarkably called the Anti-Defamation League. What all they actually do is defame people, because they realize that if you just call people names, then they, I guess, are not allowed to point out all the horrific things that you do, like defend pedophiles. Anyways, ADL tweeted this: "It's important when platforms like YouTube take action against anti-Semitic propaganda. Videos like Candace Owens promoting the false claim that Jewish people control the media are not only baseless, but fuel dangerous anti-Semitic conspiracies. This has no place in our society." Yeah, so they're referring apparently to Kanye. No one promoted any conspiracy theories, but like I said, the point of the ADL is just to gaslight you. So that's why they defended a pedophile. No one cared that he was Jewish, but that guy was their boss, Leo Frank. He murdered and raped a 13-year-old little girl and then was convicted for that murder and rape unanimously with Jewish jurors. So like there was no question of how guilty he was. And then afterwards, because he was their boss, he was the president of B'nai B'rith, which was this Freemason group. They were like, how can we rehabilitate his image thereafter? And they started calling everybody anti-Semitic. And it worked for them, just smearing people as anti-Semitic. So you're anti-Semitic if you notice that a Jewish guy killed a 13-year-old, if you know a fact. So they embark on this all the time. They are referring to me speaking to Ye. You guys can now watch that interview, even though YouTube took it down. We put it up on Twitter. You could also watch it here on Rumble. And you can also listen to that interview on Spotify or on Apple. They have not taken it down because there was nothing controversial in it. To the contrary, Ye was really calm and was basically saying that people need to do better by each other all across the board, that we as a society need to move forward and actually promote love. And that's the real reason it got taken down, because he sounded so sensible and so rational that it disallows them to keep defaming him as crazy when he talks about his experiences in Hollywood, which every single person has a right to talk about their experiences without being labeled a conspiracy theorist or anti-Semitic. So that's their comment. I'm going to read some of yours, right? You people right now who are, I keep calling it super chats. I will learn the Rumble lingo, I promise. Sarah writes, Kamala mentioned a debunked story of sexual assault on October 7th, but didn't mention the actual sexual assault on Palestinians in captivity. You know, this was actually an interesting tidbit. It would have been interesting, and it I think will be consequential for both sides, by the way, both parties. The Zionism, I think, is not something that the left or the right is keen on right now. And yet the political candidates are falling in line because they don't kind of want to deal with the media beast if you say something against Zionism. And so if somebody actually did want to stand up to the media but get a bunch of votes, they would have talked more rationally about that situation, about how there's just been too much death. And they both kind of abstained, and Bibi Netanyahu kind of walked away as the winner, watching both sides of the debate basically fawn over themselves to support anything that he wants to do forever into perpetuity. Sarah also writes, my mom is Colombian and said that, yes, Venezuela is sending criminals to the U.S. And yes, many of these gangs are satanic and perform animal sacrifice. Of course, by the way, one of the reasons that they took down the video on YouTube, they also took down the video where I spoke with Xavier Poussard regarding the pedophile ring, and we spoke about Brigitte Macron. And their reason was that I said satanic cult. And that's a dangerous conspiracy theory to suggest that there could ever be a satanic cult in the world. This is how you know you're getting close to truth. I mean, what a ridiculous reason to take a video down. You can't say the words satanic cults. No, obviously, there is one. That's the only reason why you would say no one can hear this, is because there was truth in that. And I will be posting that interview onto X later today, and you can still find that on Spotify, Apple, and here on Rumble. So I advise you listen to it before they try to delete these things off of the internet, because I'm still convinced that the World Economic Forum running that simulation that they did a while ago about what would happen if we had an internet pandemic and they had to force shut down the entire internet, I still think they're going to do that. Just like they predicted the COVID pandemic, I think they're essentially running tests to see what would happen if they brought down the internet so that they could sanitize it, as they said in that simulation. They said, we're going to have to sanitize the internet if there's just a virus that's all over the web. We, the government, are going to have to take control, just like with COVID, but this time it's going to be on the web. So I really do encourage people to be conspiracy theorists. Consider that the government is showing you their hand and they're telling you what they want to do because they realize that too many people are waking up to what's happening today. Print things out, buy books, get them into your possession, and make sure that we stay organized, that we have our own websites, that we have our own technology. It's why I'm building my own database. We're going to have to do that, but don't just rely on the internet. Like I said, buy books, get hard copies, photocopy the things that you need to remember, write them down, go old school. That's really going to be our only guard against what I believe to be a government that fully just wants to wipe out history so that they can just make us live in an ever Orwellian present. By the way, this next person writes, I really hope Rumble invests in you. Thank you for saying that. Outer Space J. Skitten Hun says, Kamala's shrill voice stressed my wolf dog so much she would not stop pacing during the entire debate. Me too, girl, me too. We just got to apologize to our husbands. We do. We all owe our husbands an apology for last night, because I don't know if it's ever sounded like that, but I am sorry if it ever has. Now I know what men say. Now I know what men think women sound like as a stereotype. Kamala is that. Valeria writes, here is the reality. The United States is finding themselves desperately wanting to keep our nation blue. Why? Mind control. Simple answer. Yet last night's debate was so sloppy, people started to notice. Yeah, I do think there is this noticing of how performative it all is. Like just seeing even the way that they speak, like you're not speaking like a human being. You're just speaking like you're a robot that's been programmed to say certain things. Swole Monkey writes, I live in Ohio. Immigrants eating people's pets has been all over local news for 2 days before the debate until Trump mentioned it, and now it's not true. Also, we need Life's Tough Get a Helmet t-shirts. Yes, they're available. Look, that's what I'm wearing today. I'll show you guys this right now. I am wearing our Life's Tough Get a Helmet crew neck, and we have the t-shirts available plus the crew necks available on clubcandace.com. By the way, I do want to mention that today is September 11th, and I wanted to do an episode about that, but I wanted to cover the debates today, and tomorrow I'm going to do an episode on Tower 7 because we never got to that. If you haven't yet, do go back and watch the episode that we did do. We did 2 episodes actually on September 11th, speaking about all of the things that were out of whack that day that they want us to conveniently forget, that I trudged up from the internet, interviews, involvement, Mossad there that day, unanswered questions. Definitely a time for you to go revisit those episodes, go back into our catalog and find that. And then tomorrow, which we never got to, we're going to talk about Tower 7 because, you know, the thing that's said about 9/11 is never forget. But I think the reality is they want us to never remember. Right? The things that they're challenging us not to forget is their version of events, right? And so some of the things that happened that day, there are some major question marks, some major holes, and I am more than happy to speak about Tower 7. Hey, we're on Rumble. I can do whatever I want. Ooh, ooh, ooh. For now, trust me, the ADL's watching right now. They're like, we're coming for her. We're coming for her real soon. But I'm telling you, you can't get rid of me. I'm just like, I'm having fun. I'm feeling like Neo from the Matrix. You can't stop me. My followers are coming with me. We're like gang. They can't stop us. Anyways, you guys, thanks so much for supporting the show. For all of you guys that joined Locals after I got banned from YouTube, it was an explosion of people supporting the show financially. And that is the reason why I don't have to worry when YouTube says, well, we're going to crush you. We're going to take your money. Rabbi Shmuley, we'll take all your money. We'll bankrupt you, Candace Owens. You guys are losers. And I say truly and honestly, you are losers. You cannot beat me in a free market. You can't. So you try to manipulate the markets by getting me off of the thing. My show's been bigger than ever before. You're like, we canceled you. We wrote so many articles. Bah! Barry Weiss. Bah! The free press. And it hasn't worked because everyone thinks you're losers. You're neocons. No one cares. We know you're lying. And so the best you've got now is a form of financial terrorism. Well, guess what? Now I belong to the people. What are you going to do now? I'm publicly traded now. And not with you guys. Not with you guys. With people who actually want to know the truth, who want to talk about these topics, who want to talk about Tower 7, who want to talk about vaccines, who want to talk about whether or not it is plausible, and it is, that our government is intentionally making us sick and intentionally making us stupid. And you guys are a part of that. You're a part of gang government. Okay, cool. You want the population to be stupid. You want to call everybody a name once they get onto one of your scents for fear of that you're going to be embarrassed if you don't get in line. You can cull our behavior. You can modify our behavior via the madness of crowds philosophy. Oh, well, everybody's doing the dumb thing, so everybody should just follow along. We're not doing that anymore. We're waking up and we're doing it with a smile on our face, a smile plastered on our face. That's all I'm going to say, guys. We are winning. They are fearful. And that's exactly what we want them to be. They are getting desperate because they feel powerless. They can feel their power waning. And that's exactly where we want them to be because it is the beginning of the end for the establishment. I'll see you guys tomorrow.